What's up everybody, Jay Renard here, and I'm here for some non-leather related content. Today, we are going to talk money. Money, and not just any kind of money. We're gonna talk precious metals. Now, I know this isn't the usual fare, so I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Precious metals, vital for a well-diversified portfolio. However, what precious metals are not, they are not investments. An investment is something that you put money into in hopes that the value will grow and that it will pay you, the investor, dividends. Precious metals do not pay dividends. They only pay out once you sell them or once you use the precious metals to barter for something or other, depending on what the situation might be. No matter how many pounds and ounces that you might have of gold or silver or platinum or jewelry, which aren't technically precious metals, but they are, but they are jewelry and fine goods and whatnot. They will not pay you anything until you either sell them or trade them for something that you deem more valuable. However, precious metals are something that are pretty good for you to have. Again, to one, keep your portfolio diversified, and two, they are an outstanding hedge against inflation. Best way that I can explain that to people who have never gone to school for economics, and I only say that because I don't really want to get into all of the formulas and equations and historical precedents and whatnot. I'm just going to give one example. So, an ounce of silver, let me grab one of those here, in the early 1900s would get you a decent meal someplace. The value of an ounce of silver. We'll take that, get you a good look at Walking Liberty. Hopefully that's nice and in focus. Let me move out of the way. You could get, for the value of an ounce of silver then, you could get a meal in a restaurant. Pretty good one. Maybe even some dessert. And in the early 1900s, an ounce of gold would get you a well-made, maybe even a finely tailored suit. Now, I don't have an ounce of gold bar or coin, but what I do have are 3 different 10-ounce. Technically, these are considered bars only because they're not coins. An ounce of gold would get you a finely tailored suit. And right now, gold is floating between $1,500 and $1,600. $1,500 to $1,600 will get you a pretty nice suit. So, precious metals are a hedge against inflation. The real value of the metals will still give you the same products in most any place, regardless of where you're at and even what time period. An ounce of gold will get you one thing, an ounce of silver will get you another. In the situation where maybe some government has let inflation go crazy and nobody considers that currency to be valuable anymore, one can still purchase goods with precious metals. So in the case of, say, early 1900s Germany, or currently now Venezuela, how inflation just destroyed their currency, precious metals will still have value. Please keep in mind though, the value of gold is actually a little too high to be considered usable for immediate trade. For instance, you can go shopping with a few ounces of silver because a few ounces of silver are maybe 60, 70 bucks. But an ounce of gold is about $1,500. No one's gonna give you change for $1,500. Just remember that. So for those who are looking to invest, there are a lot of coin, a lot of places we can buy bullion. I'm not going to mention the places where I got mine because I don't want that to be considered an endorsement or an advertisement. I'm not sure how YouTube works with that one, especially with things regarding high value products. But there are a lot of places where you can go to that are either direct sellers or brokers. But if you want to get into it, I'd recommend easing into it slowly. Just single ounce purchases or anything like that. I strongly don't recommend anyone do what I did unless you just have the spare cash to throw into getting into precious metals. This here is literally the first thing I ever bought getting to the precious metals game. A half kilo of fine silver, and I got this from a souk in Bahrain. And that's how I jumped into the market. Now, I'm single, I didn't have any dependents, I still don't, and I was on deployment, so I had the spare cash. I strongly recommend against people just jumping in feet first like that. Mine was a calculated risk. I don't regret it, but I also know that it's not really the smart way to get into it. For those folks who want to get in more into it, maybe they're in a situation like I am, where at the time you were just single with no dependents, or you just had the spare cash and you wanted to diversify their portfolio, or maybe you feel like silver is the way to go right now if you don't trust where the economy is going to lead. You have other options. This is a 5-ounce stackable bar. I wish I had a lot to stack, but there are other options as opposed to just having tons and tons of single ounce bars or rounds. So there are other options out there. Again, if this is something that you are considering doing, do a lot of research, talk to a lot of people who are in the know, speak to actual financial advisors and financial planners. Don't take all of your financial advice from a guy on YouTube in the military who makes leather stuff. I know a bit about what I'm talking about, but if you're gonna devote your own cash, talk to professionals who study the market. The nature of my job, usually, not counting this Corona stuff, it doesn't lend itself to allowing me to just stare at stock figures all day and make educated business ventures. Don't do that. If you're gonna really diversify, if you want more than just a few ounces of silver here, a few ounces of things there, really talk to a professional. However, understand again, precious metals are not an investment. They do not pay dividends. They do hedge against inflation, and it does help to round out your portfolio to keep things evenly diversified. That's all I got. If you got any questions about this, go ahead, drop it in the comments. If you have any questions about anything leather related, definitely drop it in the comments. That's all I got. This is it for my most recent episode of Quarantine Chronicles.